what would you regard as careless parenting?
The number one for me is abdicating your responsibility. How really parenting starts with all of us understanding our roles. The man should understand that he's the head and the woman will help. And how does a man help with parenting? It's not like the day-to-day potty training, go and do your homework really. Number one is setting a vision for the home. And I'm not telling you that many people have it correct. Many people don't. And that's because the man thinks my own is just to bring money. And
that's where I actually want to come in. If I will borrow a few lines from Brian Tracy, in his book Maximum Achievement about parenting, he said let me just summarize it. He says the act of nurturing, loving, and helping to build in your children self-confidence and self-esteem. Let's think about the Lord, because these things have to come together. When you're talking about the man bringing money, money is not all it matters at all. And that is why, any day we want to handle this single parenting, there's always a problem. You have to nurture, you have to love, and you have to provide money. Self-esteem and self-confidence in the children. So these things, and one person cannot do it alone.
And in fact, the order that is set by God that makes it easy is when the man is leading the way. When the woman is the one leading the way, it can work, but there is a dysfunction because you cannot fully operate in that office because the natural grace is not your role. And when a man takes time to do it, the rewards are enormous.
So going back to
parenting. At what point is it careless?
Careless.
On the sides of both the father and the mother. And is there any role for uncles and aunties to play out?
No, actually it's the community that trains a child. It's not just the parents. Everyone should train. I cannot see a child now misbehaving and I'll walk past.
Some people walk past.
It's not
I don't want to poke nose in somebody else's matter.
It was in those days.
Because some mothers will not allow you.
You are seen in a particular area or track road in my own area. Before you get home, somebody has to.
Yes.
If the person has to come on, will you go home?
Yes.
And you know the child of so. Before you get home, already report is waiting for you.
Yes.
We're responsible for all the lives of people around us.
It's not
what I do is subtle corrections. These days, you don't need to open your mouth too much. When my children are getting to the age where they're going to begin to read, before they start reading myths and books and then it's Robins like we read in those days, I go to Christian bookshops where they sell Christian books. Karen Kingsbury, Lauren Wick, Francine Rivers. So my children, when they start to want to read, that's what they read. And then when they get to a certain age,
so you catch them
young, yes, and then I now start exposing them to other literature. There's this particular book I bought. That day I just followed somebody to Lantana Books and I saw Sex, It's Worth Waiting For. I now sent it to my daughter in the US. She's in college. She's going to her final year now. A few weeks after, she sent me an email saying, "Mom, thank you for the book you sent through Daddy." That, well, I was just coming to a point where I thought that sex didn't mean anything anymore because everybody around me was doing it. And I was beginning to think about even. So, but when I read the book, I resolved again that I would wait. That is worth waiting for. Said, when I saw the email, I was scared. I said, eh? So you mean
if I did not
time? So when they're also getting to that age where they're going to take decisions about career and stuff, you start giving them motivational books, so that they have the right thinking from the start. So really, many times when you parent, it doesn't have to be, don't do this, don't do that. You give them things that will give them things that will make them take the right decision. Then one thing I teach my children, I'll say to them, I say, come, I want you to be responsible for all the decisions you take. I never want you to come and tell me that somebody made me do it. I would not like that at all. I said, as I am now, even though we're Christians, I'm not going to ask you, don't make love, don't do drugs, don't do any bad thing. All I will tell you is that if you do drugs and you go crazy, I will help you as a mother, but you know you are the mother will be mad. So let us register that one.
Some mothers watching won't like you. Like this is your
style. I'll say, because I work perfectly. No, you don't talk about it. That's the problem.
That's the problem. No, don't talk like that.
I'll say, no, I'm not saying don't have sex.
That's the problem.
I said if you are lucky, you'll be
because we see everything if you interact with
them, you talk to
they learn their parents.
Yes,
because they hide certain things. Like in my intro, I said there are certain things my mother told me that I won't be able to tell my children because I bought the idea at that time because I never allowed peer group. My mother told me that if you stay in a corner, that corner with a man, you get pregnant.
Exactly, it's rubbish.
I believed my mother.
Be real.
Be real with children. Even the Bible says that.
And even when you're lying to them, they even know.
They know never. In fact,
that's the worst.
area.
Children of these days.
That's the worst. Try it.
I heard of this case. I actually witnessed it. You know, the father at the time wasn't really making much and all that, so he wasn't able to fulfill his duties or perform his roles to the children at the time. You know. I think they were able to pay school fees and things at that time. The woman had to go out, you know, try to do, because this family is, the woman does not really work, it's the man that does the working and all. You know, so at that point she had to like fend to get, you know, and all that. So one day the boy misbehaved and the father disciplined him. And the mother stormed out of the room to say, what nonsense is that? Have you been able to fulfill your role to this boy's father? Why are you beating him?
It has wrong written on it in capital letters. No matter what a woman does.
Say, leave my son, no.
No matter how
the mother was saying this, leave my son. You have not paid his school fees, you have the right to beat him.
Can you imagine?
And this is even if the man is a useless man. So.
You can't disrespect him in front of his children and even in front of others. You can talk of your rubbish, maybe in private.
Between yourself.
You can say whatever if you are so inclined. But not to your children.
Because
your cheat to backfire.
Yes.
She just comes down and says, leave that boss.
See you as a good woman. Because they themselves, yes. So say, I won't want my own wife to talk to me like that.
It's wrong for a mother to talk when the father is trying to, and vice versa. Because that's
even if you disagree, you wait and do it in private. You must all agree, both agree in front of you.
So it's wrong whenever a man or the woman is disciplining the child, the other person should be, even if you have anything to say.
Say later.
No.
Then there's also this case of guilty feeling. The parent feels guilty. I've not done much for these children. And I want to now start, take the girl. In fact, I've not provided money. You know that there are some girls, they go out to fend for themselves, maybe by prostituting and all that. And the mother says, I didn't get the money for her now. She has gone to get the money herself.
And that's why we should try not to abdicate our responsibility. There's no excuse to it.
Yes, sir.
I never believe that somebody does not have money. You know why? There's so many businesses in this Nigeria that you can do to make money. There's 100% profit on selling finance. If you buy it at 5 naira, you sell it at 10. Suya. If you go to mile 12 and carry one basket of tomato, by the time you finish selling, you make profit. You plow it back, even if it's vegetables. You do it with a difference.
So people that has gone to school is looking at us and saying,
"What is school? What is school?
What is school?"
The greatest, of course, the richest people, they didn't really do much with their going to school. I just want to say this: at any time a child does something, you should just remember that you have your life to live. It doesn't matter where your parents are coming from, because if Obama gave himself the excuse of being raised by a single parent who was not even there most of the time, he wouldn't have made it to become the president of the United States. The first black president is a major feat. Don't give yourself excuses is what I would say. If Obama had also said that I didn't have money, didn't have the pedigree where he would have the what you call establishment support behind him, he wouldn't have made it. Because he knew that there would be a strategy. So what would I say? Where there's a will, there's a way.